Hello.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm just fixing our sound here, making sure. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to see everybody. Good to be online with you guys. Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Welcome.
Taking a look and all that good stuff.
We got Public Enemy in the house. What's up? And South Africa. We have like a real international vibe going on here. So
yeah, that's the Cypress Hill audience. They're deep like that.
Yeah, I'm impressed. So, welcome everyone. I am Mary Almonte, the head of social here at Rock the Bells. And I don't think SenDog needs any introduction, but I have him here with me and I couldn't be more excited. So welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be chatting music and whatever else we're going to chat about.
Dope. So we'll get right into it, right? You guys just wrapped your tour. How was that experience?
Well, the tour went really good. For the most part, I think every city had a really good turnout. There was like a couple of light turnouts here and there, but for the most part, it was like people were coming in droves to check out Cypress Hill and Amphitheater and Z-Trip. And I gotta say, I really didn't know what to expect when we started the tour, because I know what Cypress Hill could do. That's not the issue. I was just like, are we with the right acts, group of people type of thing? And sure enough, we were. All the bands, everybody got along well. And everybody was, brotherhood up and everything, you know what I mean? So it was fun. It was good. It was great. And I got to listen to an artist that I hadn't really listened to much in the past, the Atmosphere guys. So it was really good. I had a great time, and I think everybody in our band had a good time, and we wouldn't be against doing it again with those guys.
Oh, dope. Yeah, so we had the pleasure of chatting with them last week. We had Atmosphere and Z-Trip. Shared some pretty dope stories. And so both of them, though, said that there were certain things that they did differently due to COVID, that, normally they would be a little more interactive in their shows. Did you guys have to make any, changes or alterations to kind of be more COVID friendly?
Well, yeah, definitely. We went the whole tour pretty much, we stuck to our, bubble, if you will. Just, the crew and the band guys interacting and whatnot. There was, normally, when I get really excited, I like to stage dive and jump on top of people and stuff like that. And, for the beginning, I knew that wasn't going to be, going down on this tour or anything like that. But I mean, regardless, we still had a lot of fun, though. It was great. The audiences were great. The crowd participation was over the roof. It was just incredible. So we were being careful for sure. But still, I think people were just ready to see some live music and some live hip hop and whatnot. So, I think we all were, being very extra careful on, not to go, bar hopping every night and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So it was good. It was great.
Did Ida travel that you guys traveled to, or a favorite moment? Give us a juicy story.
Well, okay. Well, to me, I'm kind of partial to Denver, because of the obvious, there are 420 brothers, whatever. But the venue there is called Red Rocks, and it's a beautiful venue that was built well over 100 years ago. And it's nestled in the mountains, and they basically blew up a mountain to make a music venue. So it's very, very classy place, and people that go to these shows, I've never been to a show at Red Rocks that wasn't completely sold out. That's how much people like going to see concerts there. So, yeah. So we went there, and we were like, I'm not sure, if we're going to sell this place out or not, because people were talking about, hey, I'm not sure it's going to be a sellout or whatnot, but it was good. And the thing about Red Rocks is, have you ever seen like an old school movie, or a documentary about the Roman days when the gladiators would fight and the people would come watch them and all sit in a angle looking down on the stage area?
Whoa, yes.
And when they cheer and give it up for you, you can almost feel their cheering landing on you physically. I'm getting goosebumps just telling you about it right now.
Wow.
So it's one of those things that as a performer, that if you don't know that's going to happen, when it happens, it catches you by surprise, and you're like, wow, you feel so important and, such a grand entertainer because of the way it's set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think for that reason, I think, the Denver show was my favorite show. Although I did enjoy, every city that we went to. We went to a couple of states that we had never played in, like Idaho and Montana and things like that. So, it was, for the most part, it was a good tour. It was all good and gravy. But, when we got to Denver, they took it to the next level.
Wow. So do you guys have like a favorite song to perform, or is there a song that like the crowd gets hyped for more than the others?
Well, you see, the show is meant to, take you like on a roller coaster ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just want you to just look and observe and see the things that we're doing, and then we got our hip hop songs, we got our rock, our metal material that we do over there and all that stuff, right? But with that being said, I've always enjoyed performing to doing How I Could Just Kill a Man, and it has a special significance for me, if you will, because that was the song that put us on the map, and 30 years later, here we are still playing that Killer Man song, and people are still reacting the same to it. So
yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. So sure.
But I know the song's coming up. I know this is my chance to, do a little something extra to get them extra hyped up or extra excited or whatever. But that song has never failed us one day on stage ever. It's always, that song comes on and people just start jumping up and down like ants and, just moving up and down. It's an incredible to know that we created something that has, lasted the test of time.
So dope. So you had mentioned before that you're celebrating the 30th anniversary of your debut album.
Yeah.
How does that feel? What did you guys do to celebrate? Anything fun, special?
Other than the tequila bottles, we got a little drunk. We threw some shots in the air, tip them back and whatnot. We didn't. We acknowledge it. That it's a grand moment, and there's not a lot of bands, especially in hip hop, that go a full ride like we have. But for us, we were all like slapping high fives and congratulating each other, and because this is something that we did together. It was us against the world, if you will, and for it to for us to go and be here 30 years later and our music still be popular and people still sing along with us, it's a very special feeling. I can only compare it to like being a successful athlete and being in a championship game every year or something, something like that. So we took it as we always do. We take everything in with stride and look at it in the proper context, because you just can't get caught up. Oh, the band's 30. Hey, we still have to go out there and prove ourselves every night. We can't rest on our 30 years of work that we have put in. So, we're all very proud. When I start to think about it, I start, thinking about, back to the days when I actually met Be Real and Muggs for the first time, and, not knowing that these were going to be my lifelong friends or whatnot,
Yeah.
All that comes into mind, my parents, giving me, I couldn't say advice, but, pushed me in the right direction. Like, your brother did it, you guys could too, keep going, don't stop, whatever. Things are going to happen for you guys. Just wait. So all those things came into mind,
Yeah.
I was 24 years old back then, and I'm not anymore.
Wow.
So,
Still look it though. You still look it.
Oh, well, all those special things, and everything that we went through come into play, come into mind. And you just, and I got to say that I'm grateful and I'm thankful that, the guys chose me to be in the band with them, because tell you the honest truth, I was working. I didn't plan on leaving that job for anything, but they were so convincing that I up and quit my job and joined the guys, and the rest, it became history. Not at first, but over a period of time, it was clear to me that I made the right decision.
Wow. So it's really rare for groups to kind of stay together in hip hop, especially for 30 years. I mean, sometimes it's like 30 minutes, group mantles. So what do you think is like the secret sauce that held you guys together for this whole time?
Well, I think the reason that we've stood together for so long and all this time is because, we were friends as teenagers. We were those kids on the block, kicking rhymes, hitting beats on my mom's car hood, freestyling and just trying to be the ultimate hip hop, b-boy, you know what I mean? And we went through the times where, we had to, share the hamburger special or, everybody piece up on some 40s or whatever it is that we were going to do that day. And we went through a lot of special, brotherhood moments like that where people weren't looking at us as like the next big thing out of California, out of Los Angeles. They were looking at us as like, Mellow Man's brother in them. You know what I mean? People weren't really thinking that we had what it took. And when I think back on those days, I'm like, not only did we have what it took, but we had some extra, So the whole thing was, just being there and being with the bros and always being together. We became family, and I would refer to B-Real's mom, like, I would call her tia, which means aunt in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And he would call my mom tia, and we would call Muggs' mom tia. And, the moms all of our mothers were very vital in our direction and what we decided to do. They were very supportive. And, we've always had that about us with this family thing. Mm-hmm. And the family thing, I think, outrules, outrides everything. Family comes first. Family is more important than money, careers, and all that stuff. And we actually care about each other in that way so that we're actually a family out there. That's what you're seeing on stage is, brothers up there doing their thing. I mean, Eric Bobo has been with us for 28 years, 29 years.
Wow.
It's a thing where, we had all these experiences where we tightened our bond way before the success of the band. And I think that we all remember all that, very well. And we could never get funky on each other like that because, we've been there. We've done that. We came up together and we saw everything together. We did everything together. So I'm up here, living the dream with my brothers. And that's why we're still a band. You know what I mean?
So dope. Family first, for real.
Yeah.
Eric Bobo in the comments. So shout out to him.
Eric Bobo. What's up, Lance?
Yes. And so also a lot of people feel like you are a trailblazer for Latinos in hip hop. What are some of the, other artists that are Latinos in hip hop that you feel like might have paved the way or were trailblazers along with you that deserve their flowers?
Well, I actually got to give props to my brother, Mellow Man Ace, because he was early on the scene. I think he was back in like 88 or 89 or something. And he came out with his, bilingual style, and that opened up doors for us just because I was in the band and people were willing to listen to demos because Mellow Man Ace's brother was in the band, so he definitely opened doors for us and not just us, other Latino artists as well. And another one is Kid Frost. He was right around the same year that Mellow dropped. And I think they were even on the same management. And he, he opened the world up to, the whole Choloism, Pachuco, and all that stuff. He gave them that look, and it was a strong look in those days. And I mean, we had that to go off of. Like, we could have went that way and been like a completely, bilingual band, if we wanted to do that. But back then, our mentality was, let's be a good hip hop band first, and then later on we'll come up and hit them with the Spanish and the Spanglish and all that stuff. But we always wanted to be like Public Enemy, even to our voices. Like, we just wanted to do that, And so our goal was always to, be accepted as an English rap group first that has some surprises down the line, So when we went about it, I think we went about it the right way because in those days, it was all about representing your race and your culture. Booyah Tribe, the Samoans, Kid Frost, the Cholo guy, Mellow Man Ace, the derby hat, the cigar, the whole Cuban thing. And we were like the ones to break away from that mold that everybody was using. And we didn't even want to show our faces in our pictures or videos. The label had to fight with us to show our faces, So we were always like trying to be different than whatever everybody else was doing, especially in LA, Compton, off of Crenshaw, whatever. We were always trying to, okay, that's already been done. We had to think of something else. And I think, that's probably a good thing to have when you're trying to become successful in music is your own identity, and you didn't follow anybody and you didn't copy anybody's sound. And, people give you respect for that kind of stuff, And when we did our stuff, I think we got that album. DJ Muggs was like, hey, he asked me, he goes, that rap that you do in front of your brother's shows? The rest of it and make a song out of it. I got an idea for it. And that would be the song Latin Lingo. So, we gave him a little taste, but then later on down the line, we gave him, a lot more. But, I got to tell you that I'm very proud to be a Latino and a Cuban, especially in today's, environment, what's happening around the world in my home island and whatnot. I'm very proud to represent my culture, my race, toda mi gente. You know what I mean? It's great, And when you talk about Cypress Hill, you got to mention the two Cuban dudes in the front who, you know what I mean? So we're proud of that. We're very proud. We recognize that we've done something very special and that we've opened the doors for other artists to come behind us. We've left it wide open so anybody could come on through that wants to come through. And we recognize that, and we feel very special and honored to hold that position, with people around the world and other artists around the world.
So dope. We appreciate you for real for that. And so I don't know if you're aware, or even our audience here with us today, but Rock the Bells has a Coming Home series with a fellow Cubano, DJ EFN, where we explore hip hop around the world. And our first episode actually was in Cuba. So I'm curious, we'd love to know, when was the last time you were back in Cuba, if ever? And what do you think about the progression of hip hop in Cuba?
Okay. Well, I've never been back to Cuba. My family left when I was 7 years old, and my parents were like, we ain't never going back over there. So,
That's a common story. So
yeah, they were fed up with the whole system and all that stuff. And, so I've never been back over there, but I have had a chance to listen to some Cuban hip hop stuff. And I got to say that, man, the passion that what those guys rap about and what they're talking about, and you could almost feel their pain and their hunger through the cassette or whatever, the CD that I was listening to, whatever. And I was like, man, these guys have come such a long way, and they have such an incredible journey and struggle and fight to go through, living on the island and just being mad frustrated and not being able to get their music out to the world or even get a record deal for that matter. You pretty much have to, leave the island and go to another country to be successful. Yeah. But I definitely like their passion, and their commitment for their wanting of a better life. It's been 60 something years that, things have been kind of like, in a quagmire, kind of stuck there. And for the longest times, earlier generations wouldn't say anything. They would just go with it. And it took these hip hop kids to say, hey, man, we're tired of this and we're hungry and we need better stuff and better medicine. And the hip hoppers are the ones that are putting that message out there. And I think that's what helped lead to this recent wave of demonstrations in Cuba. I think it all started with the hip hop kids and what they were saying on the mic and not caring if they were going to be put in jail or prison or whatever, like my cousin told me from Cuba, he goes, at least in jail, I get to eat twice a day.
Yeah. I mean, hip hop is the answer in so many ways. And I feel like people don't really realize it. So
yeah, it is. And, me and my brother Mello, we're the only, I guess, rappers in our family. When you put everybody together, us guys here and those guys in Cuba, my family's over there. They're an incredibly bunch of talented musicians. I mean, each one of them could play every instrument. They sing, they dance, they could do it all. They're incredible salsa artists. And I think that me and Mello would have been the same thing, except we came to America and discovered hip hop. So, that's the whole separation of our families. But, they're very proud of us, and they saw us receive the star in the Walk of Fame and all that stuff. And they're very proud. They tell people, those are our cousins, those are our relatives. And for that fact, I think that if we stood in Cuba, it would have been a different life. But The fact that we came to America and we were able to do hip hop, to me is just incredible because I didn't see that coming. I wanted to play football coming out of high school. I didn't have no idea what I was going to do, except for, I ended up in this band and it's all been a blessing ever since.
Wow. So dope. Well, music is in your DNA, it seems. So,
yeah. Well, the joke is that our ancestors came off the slave boat singing and dancing, hundreds of years ago. And they're like, these guys here, we need to be entertained. That's the family joke, who knows if it's true or not, but that's what they say.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Cypress Hill was one of the only hip hop acts to play Lollapalooza back in the day.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's safe to say you guys kind of crossed over and penetrated a rock audience at a time when hip hop wasn't necessarily welcome. So how did you guys do it? And what do you think, kind of the evolution of that is?
Well, when you talk about that, you got to give the fans, people that come buy your records and see you in concert, you got to give them credit because they're a wise bunch of people and they could see through stuff. You know what I mean? And Cypress Hill, we all grew up, of course, on hip hop, but we listened to a lot of, rhythm and blues and funk, rock and roll, metal, and I think people get that vibe from us when they see us walk in somewhere. They know that we got the same background as them. And I think that turned on a lot of rock and roll and metal fans to Cypress Hill. Not just that, I think, the cannabis contents had something to do with it. And we were a wild bunch of guys and our voices were different. All these things led to people trying to figure out more about us. And by the time they figured out about us, we're, co-headlining Lollapalooza with Courtney Love and whatnot. And people were getting a good, prime time look at that point. And, the thing with us is we've never been scared of performing with anybody, any stage or anything like that. So when I saw that Ice Cube had did it, and actually when Cube had did it, we were on a secondary stage. That was our first Lollapalooza experience. Mm-hmm. And we went to perform the first time. And there was nobody there at that second stage, not one person. So we decided we're going to take off. We're going to split. We're not doing this show, right? But me being the beer head that I am, I had to go get me a beer first. So I walked to the beer stand to get beer. And as I'm walking, people are coming up to me like, oh, Cypress Hill, you guys 5:30. I'll see you there. Oh, Cypress Hill, all this Cypress Hill stuff. So I went back to the guys and I go, hey, man, I changed my mind. We're going to do this show. So as it got closer to the show, like an hour away, some people were there, half hour away, more people came. By the time we came on, it was, like 5,000 or 6,000 people at a side stage. And that was the first time I ever seen people like walking on each other and diving backwards and all kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, I found a new home. This is it right here. I was just happy. And you know what it was is that Lollapalooza not only catered to a rock and roll audience, it catered to every audience. So we got a chance to, perform, with bands that we liked. And then at the same time, we get a chance to perform for their audience and they get to see us. So it kind of like I'm going to steal some of your fans today deal. Tomorrow I'm going to do the same thing, and it actually worked out really good. And we were jazzed. And to this day, we're still very proud that we took that chance and did Lollapalooza when, they were desperately seeking a hip hop band to be on the list. And a lot of people, I'm not going to say no names, but turned that down. Mm-hmm. And, we've never turned anything down, opening up for Metallica or playing with Kiss in Europe or, we're open for all that stuff. So we jumped on it and it was a good thing because all the races that were attending the Lollapalooza festivals, mm-hmm. There was black, white, brown, yellow, red, there was everything there. And if you're trying to get your band to as many people as you can, boom, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect right there.
So you guys obviously just wrapped this tour. So what's next for you?
Well, we're going to be doing a bunch of Weekend Warrior stuff with, I think we have some actual gigs set up with Metallica's headlining and whatnot. Mm. So we're going to do a bunch of that. We have some stuff in LA, set up with Snoop and Cube and just everybody that you could think of from the West Side. You know, it's going to be there performing. I'm forgetting the name of the concert. I think it's called A Day in LA or something like that.
Okay.
And then we're headed, you know, in December, we're going to go play Mexico, something about a taco festival or something. And so, you know, we got a lot of things, you know, that we want to do. We got a album scheduled to drop in March, with our documentary scheduled to be released in April, directed by the one and only Esteban Oriol.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, we're all excited about all these things, and we're not scheduled to actually go overseas until May of next year. So hopefully by then, you know, things have been, you know, what's the right word? You know, things have changed to that we could actually go and perform and whatnot, and we're not stuck at home again.
Right.
Although I did enjoy my time off.
Yeah. Well, what did you do during the quarantine to keep yourself sane?
I smoked a lot of weed, wrote some songs, you know, kids, you know, go to the movies or whatever with the kids and whatnot. I don't know, just, you know, just regular stuff. You know, I kind of felt like I kind of, for a minute there, I kind of felt like we would never tour again or something like that, because things were just so, you know, all this information coming left and right. You know, so when I found myself on the stage during this tour, a couple of times I got emotional, you know, and I had to, like, you know, turn my head and do this stuff, because I was seeing kids out there just jamming and, you know, Killer Man, and kids were singing along, and I'm like, man, I didn't know how much I missed it.
Yeah.
You know, it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah. You're not alone in that sentiment. A lot of people that we speak to feel like it was surreal to kind of be back to performing, and any semblance of life pre-COVID is like, you kind of appreciate it so much more now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, too, my kiddies are getting older, and they're actually recognizing what it is that their dad does, you know, and I've always wanted. How's that?
I said, how dope is that? Yes.
I've always wanted them, because they're youngsters. They're like 8 and 6 years old, you know, and I've always wanted them to see what it is that I do, you know, with my bros, and maybe one of them or both of them might get that itch to write songs or record one day or something like that. You know, and I always thought, like, you know, oh man, they're never going to get to see me do that. But, you know, eventually I was wrong. You know, we got out there and I was sending them messages every night, and they were watching the Cypress Hill Instagram and all that. And you know, seeing everything we were up to, and you know, they're proud of their dad. You know, they're you know, they know that their dad does something that everybody's dad doesn't do. You know what I mean? So they're, you know, my little daughter especially, she's a little shy. She's always telling people, oh, my dad's a rapper. My dad's a rapper. You know? So
well, it's had so much success, but I think that you'd agree that there's nothing better than that. Like, that's when you know you really made it, when your kids are proud of you. So
of course, yeah. And they all know, my oldest, my son, he's, you know, 8 years old, so he knows a little bit more. So he's been, you know, he asked me questions about Be Real, about Eric Bobo, about DJ Muggs, and, you know, he knows, you know, everybody in the band and whatnot. So, you know, I just wanted them, you know, like, if you're a professional athlete and you're, like, you know, the best player in the game, the one thing that you want is for your son to see you playing, you know what I mean? and well, that's done now, so they got a chance to see. So hopefully it you know, it vibes off on them, and, you know, one of them or both of them become artists. I don't know. I'd be the proudest dad in the world if that did happen.
Wow. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that for sure. So so I know that we're over time now. We could talk to you all day, and hopefully you come back and we maybe do this in person once, you know, quarantine is fully over. But I want to ask everyone in the audience to drop some flowers for SenDog, because you truly are a legend, and we appreciate everything that you've done and continue to do for the culture. And we appreciate the time that you've spent with us today. And yeah, I guess, you know, do you have any parting words for the people? Because you're getting so much love in these comments.
Well, I just got to say that I want to thank everybody out there around the world, that whoever supported Cypress Hill, ever, you know, came to see us play live, bought a T-shirt, bought a CD, whatever you've done, you know, you're as responsible for these last 30 years as Be Real and myself and Muggs and Bobo are. We could not have never done it without you. The support, the love, it's just been over the top, from day one since I Could Just Kill a Man took off. And to me, that's no joke. I find that, solid. That's the most solid thing that's ever happened in my life. And we could not have done it, all these 30 years without the support of those fans that, came to see us play live when we didn't have a hit song out. Hell, we didn't even have an album out, and we're still selling out concert venues and arenas around the world. So, much respect from me to the world, to the Cypress Hill Nation, the Cypress Hill Army. I love you guys. And for that same reason, that's why we're still going, because our fans deserve it.
Well, we love you, and keep doing what you do. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
It's great talking to you, too. Take care.
You too.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Bye.